Wide Open Sportsman on YouTube. I'm your host, Dave Valtiera. Hunting, fishing, and adventure. It's go time.
Do you want to be a better turkey hunter? Today on Wide Open Outdoor Adventures, we show you how to pattern the animals and call them in for the kill. South Texas is known for great country for Rio Grande turkey.
All right, we've got a great setup right here. We've got an opening. I put out a Jake and a hen. And the thing is that this Jake's with this hen, and I want the Tom to see that and say, hey, I'm gonna kick you out of there. I want that hen. So we're working a little mating deal. And so we got these alleyways that come up to an opening. Let's do it.
I called in a great Tom. He was hot, but he came towards me, and he cut through the brush, across the Sendera, and he was gone. It's all about finding birds that will come to you.
We've got a group of turkey in this field right on the other side of this tank dam. So there's a lake right here, and there's a field on the other side or to the right of it. And then I got this alleyway, the Sendera, that runs to the creek where I know that they roost, or at least I know some turkey roost there. So I've got this group, I've got my hen here, I've got my inferior male, I've got my Jake, and I'm gonna get set up in the brush right here and see if I can call them in. Let's do it.
A Tom came in, but he got hung up, and he wouldn't come to the decoys.
It's been tough. He was right there at the corner. All right, we gotta move. Right in the top, but I want some fluff. I want some greenery. So I'm going to find the limbs that work best. I think this is enough for that one top. Some cover. I just want to break up this top. You see my turkey feather for good luck right here? And it'll make a hole or two, but $200 blind, you know what I mean? Take care of it, but it's going to get used. All right, I've got my work done, set up this little blind. It's right behind me next to the four-wheeler. You can see it from here. It looks pretty good. All the lines, except that back line, is still there, but all the other lines are brushed off. And you gotta have a hacksaw, and you gotta have a good axe to get your lumber to dial in your blind. All right. Now, this blind is set up for tonight's hunt. Bow hunting on Wide Open Outdoor Adventures. The blind is dialed in. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Say hello to my little friend. This is Air Jake. We're going to make you a better outdoorsman. You want to learn the tips and tricks? Subscribe today. Click the bell.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, let's get back to the hunt.
Bow hunting Rio Grande turkey is an adrenaline rush. Killing a turkey with a bow is tough. Really tough. That Jake ran off, but I tracked him down.
The breeding cycle of the wild turkey occurs over about a 2-month time span total. That occurs when they are receptive. They get receptive when the hormone levels pick up. That happens when they're eating a lot of green vegetation and they're receiving a certain amount of sunlight during the day. This is all fired up by the spring rains. So the spring rains determine when breeding cycle occurs. Season in Texas is 7 weekends and the 6 weeks in between those. That 2-week prime time is going to occur somewhere in that 7-week period of time. But what happens after copulation is the hen slips off to her nest almost every day for about 2 weeks. When her clutch is complete, average clutch is 10 to 12 eggs, she will then set on the nest day and night, getting up about once an hour to grab a bite to eat, turn the eggs, and then she goes back to sitting. She no longer returns to the roosting area every night. That leaves the gobblers very lonely and vulnerable to a call. Birds, large birds, so they can get quite aggressive. A true gobbler fight going on is a very noisy, very raucous affair. However, once the pecking order is established, very few fights occur. They will tolerate other gobblers in their area as long as they honor that pecking order. If they're brave enough to stand up and gobble and strut in front of them, it's going to be a fight going on.
You know, Robert, I hear a lot of different calls coming from you right next to me when we're hunting. Are you simulating a hen with multiple sounds, multiple calls? Or are you simulating a Jake, a hen, and a Tom interacting? How's that work?
I use a variety of calls when I'm trying to bring a gobbler to me. Most of the time it's the mating yelp. In one hen, doing the mating yelp, hopefully the Tom responds. But sometimes, especially if there's a lot of real hens around, you got to sound like a party going on, and he's invited and she's invited, and if one of them comes over there, they usually all come over there. So often I'll get 2 or 3 calls out and just get on them. Assembly calls, kiki run, cutting and yelping, anything that the main hen, if you hear one hen firing off, whatever she's doing, do it back at her a little louder, a little longer, whereas the hen yelps more like yelp, 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 yelp. The gobbler yelps more like yelp, 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 yelp. And of course you know what the gobble is. So you use the gobbler yelps and gobbles to attract gobblers when they're assembling into their bachelor groups.
Now, let's get back to the hunt.
I think the most important thing in calling turkeys is not so much the calls or the sounds you make with them even, but your setup. We're where we're at right now because this is a good typical setup. We're at the edge of a field, but we're back off the field just a few feet. We're not out in it. We've got good cover behind us to break up our outline, and we're in as full of camouflage as we can possibly be. The only thing sticking out is this one hand, because I have to have it to operate some of my calls, and my eyes, because you got to see them before you can shoot them. Otherwise, total camo. As far as the calling,
There's all different types of turkey calls. Real common one is the mouth diaphragm call. You put it in your mouth and you blow air across it to make it sound sort of like a turkey. The one call you need to learn before any other is the mating yelp. Let's see if I can do one for you here. Pretty simple call. It's just yelp, 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 yelp. If you don't learn any other turkey call, learn that one. You can add to that as you go along and you get more practice. You can add puts and purrs and clucks and cackles and cuts, and they'll all work at different times. Basically, this is a cut. That's a cut. A cackle is a combination of cuts and yelps. But again, the most important one, the yelp. If you learn to do that on 3 different types of calls, rubber like the mouth diaphragm, some kind of pot call, they make them out of slate, they make them out of glass, they make them out of different metals. They all sound a little different, but they all sound similar to a hen. On the slate, you take your striker, you angle it a little bit, and you make basically long ovals. That is the mating yelp. Cuts, cackle, purrs, puts. Slates have a lot of variety, just like the mouth diaphragm. Real good call, one of my absolute favorites. This call right here has killed lots and lots and lots of turkeys. But all these box calls are basically made out of wood. And all you do is press this in with the right cadence. That cadence is real important. Even though it sounds different than the slate and it sounds different than the diaphragm, you'll notice my cadence is always the same on that breeding yelp. I actually won this one in a National Wild Turkey Federation calling contest in 2001. Did you hear that gobbler answer? They also do a whine, and these box calls are perfect for doing the whine. During the middle of the day or late morning, a lot of times a hen will just get in the middle of the field and just stand out there and whine until a gobbler shows up. Want to make sure they're quiet so they're not in your bag while you're walking around, so I use that big rubber band around there. Academy sells a little Velcro thing, can go around there. As long as you keep it tight, that's your main point. Learn that yelp. If you don't learn any other turkey call, learn the yelp. It'll kill you lots of turkeys.
Triple trauma, baby. You want to out-hunt your friends? Click the subscribe button, and don't forget, click the bell. You'll get notifications. We'll make you a better outdoorsman. Robert, what's required for turkey hunting?
What's required for turkey hunting is a hunting license. Out-of-state people can get a break on that. Instead of buying the $326 full year license, they can get a spring turkey only license for $126. Texas residents need just the regular hunting license with the upland game endorsement, since turkeys are considered upland birds. You will also need full camouflage, including face mask and gloves. Turkey's eyesight is incredible. You'll need some calls, and you'll need to know how to use them. And you'll need a firearm of some sort, or a bow, and the appropriate shell or projectile.
Robert, what is the appropriate gun and shell to use?
If you call them in close, you can kill them with a 410 shotgun. That's not a problem. But a lot of times they'll hang up on you, like our bird did. He was fixing to go and follow those hens, and he was out there 45, 50 yards. That would be way too far to ethically shoot like a 410. Even a 20 gauge, that's getting out there. But we were shooting a 12 gauge with 3.5-inch magnums in it, loaded with number 5 lead. Those will carry that far, and they've got enough knockdown power to kill them cleanly and ethically, as you saw by our video.
Yes, you like turkey hunting. Tell us why.
Dave, I don't like turkey hunting. I love turkey hunting. It's a blast. It's an adrenaline rush like no other. I mean, anytime that I can call to something and it calls back and comes to me, that's great. I mean, like bugling elk, rattling deer, those are fun. Duck hunting, love it. Goose hunting, love it. But turkey hunting, top of the list.
It's my understanding there's 2 seasons for turkey in Texas. Is that true?
A large part of Texas does have 2 hunting seasons. Some does not. Make sure to check the rules where you're going to hunt. In the fall, though, most turkeys are taken by deer hunters. Just coincidence, deer hunting, they're sitting there at the feeder, turkey comes out and they decide they're going to have turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. The spring season, with the gobbling, the responding to the calls, the working the toms, that's where it's at for me. Shooting a turkey at a deer feeder, no thanks.
On this segment of Wide Open Outdoor Adventures, we're turkey hunting again in South Texas. Got everything I need right here to hunt. I'm going to use this little cactus bunch. I'm going to set up right behind it. We've got a cool setup right here. We really do. We have a field of oats right here, but we have a water source both behind me and in front of me. And I'm going to use this blind across the way to put my cameraman Fred up there, and that way he can film. And at the end of the day, turkey are going to come to roost either in those trees or in these trees. So I'm going to set up right here and blend in and make this hunt hopefully come together on Wide Open Outdoors. This turkey closest to me is a good tom. I may have a shot. There's my shot. I got him. Turkey down. Woo! Awesome. Awesome. Let's check him out. Oh, he's a good tom. No, he's a great tom. Now that hunt came together. What I did is I simulated a lost hen. So I did the kiki and the yelp. They didn't call that much, but I wanted to bring in the mother hen. Usually in the fall, they group up in big numbers and they walk around on the ground in groups. And the mother hen hears this lost hen and brings the whole group to me. So I knew that if I didn't get a shot off pretty quick, I might be inundated with birds and one would see me. So I had to take the shot. It worked out great. Let's check them out. That was awesome.